Something extraordinary is happening right now, not in one country, not in one city, almost everywhere. For the first time in modern history, entire nations are running out of children, entire civilizations are shrinking. In South Korea, the birth rate has hit record lows. In Japan, adult diapers now outsell baby diapers. China's population is already shrinking, and the United States is far below the replacement level of 2.1. Most people see these headlines and move on. They think it's just a statistic. They think it doesn't affect them. But this trend has the power to change everything you know about retirement, taxes, and the value of your own home. Once a nation stops having children, a chain reaction begins, a cycle that is almost impossible to stop. And by the time most people notice it, it's already too late. This is what happens when a country stops having children. Once a nation stops having children, a chain reaction begins, a cycle that is almost impossible to stop. The town stays stable, the economy grows slowly, schools are full, and businesses thrive. The town works. Now imagine each generation has only half as many children. The next generation isn't 1,000, it's 500, then 250, then 125. The math is simple, but the result is terrifying. Your grandparents could support a family of 5 on a single blue-collar income. Today, 2 professional incomes can barely afford a condo. But this isn't a thought experiment. It's reality for most of the developed world today. We are failing to reach replacement. In Italy and Spain, birth rates have hovered around 1.2 for years. That is a demographic death spiral. Eventually, you hit the crossover, the moment when more people are dying than being born. Many nations are there now. Once you cross that line, your population is in freefall, and reversing that trend is something no nation has done successfully. But why is this happening? Why have we suddenly stopped wanting to build families? The answer is more complex than you think. The conversation usually turns political. People talk about culture or values, but the main reason is often purely financial. Housing has become a luxury. Childcare costs are like a second mortgage, and student debt is a mountain. Your grandparents could support a family of 5 on a single blue-collar income. Today, 2 professional incomes can barely afford a condo. There is also the opportunity cost. For many women, having a child means sacrificing years of career growth and earnings. We've built a world where self-fulfillment and career success are the primary goals. Children are often seen as an obstacle to those goals. People are waiting longer to marry. They're waiting longer to have that first child. And that wait often becomes a never. The social contract has changed. Loneliness is at an all-time high, yet the commitment required for a family feels out of reach. But even if we fix the costs tomorrow, we still have a problem called demographic momentum. The fewer kids you have now, the fewer parents you have later. The base of the pyramid is shrinking. There literally aren't enough young people left to birth the next generation. And this is where the crisis stops being about babies and starts being about you, specifically your money and your future. An economy is not a series of spreadsheets. It is a collection of people. When the people disappear, the growth disappears. Young people are the drivers of consumption. They buy first homes, new cars, and baby clothes. They take risks and start businesses. When you have fewer young people, you have fewer consumers. Less demand means less innovation. Less innovation means a stagnant world. We are already seeing the labor shortage. Businesses can't find workers. Supply chains are breaking. Prices are rising. This is just the beginning. Imagine a world where your local grocery store is only open 4 hours a day, where you wait 6 months for a simple repair. That is a shrinking economy. And then there's the tax problem. Governments rely on young workers to pay for the infrastructure and services everyone uses. When the number of workers drops, the tax revenue drops. But the cost of maintaining a nation does not drop. In fact, it's about to explode. Because while we're having fewer children, we're living longer than ever before. Welcome to the Silver Tsunami. The ratio is breaking. In the past, there were 10 workers for every 1 retiree. Soon, there will be only 2. Think about that. 2 people have to produce enough for themselves and 1 elderly person. That math does not work. This is the most concerning part. If you're counting on Social Security or a pension, you need to understand the pyramid problem. Retirement systems were built on a pyramid, a massive base of young workers at the bottom supporting a small number of retirees at the top. But the pyramid is flipping. When the top is heavier than the base, the structure collapses. We are currently living through that collapse. Governments will have to make a choice: raise the retirement age to 75 or slash benefits by half, or both. This isn't a theory. It's already happening. Millions of people are working well into their 70s because they have no choice. And as the population ages, the demand for healthcare will skyrocket. But who will be the nurses? Who will be the caregivers? In Japan and Germany, they are already facing a massive shortage of healthcare workers. This leads to a drop in the quality of care for everyone. But the biggest hit to your personal wealth isn't your pension. It's the asset you probably think is your safest investment, your home. For 50 years, real estate was a sure bet. Why? Because there were always more people entering the market than leaving it. But what happens to the price of your house when there are millions of elderly sellers and almost no young buyers? In parts of Italy and Japan, you can buy homes for $1. $1. Not because the houses are bad, but because there are no people. This isn't just a foreign problem. Entire regions of the United States are seeing their housing markets stagnate as the population ages out. When a town loses its children, it loses its soul, but it also loses its equity. Your net worth is tied to the next generation's desire to live where you live. And then there's the innovation drought. History shows that the most transformative ideas come from people in their 20s and 30s. Aging societies tend to become conservative and risk-averse. They stop looking for the next big thing. They just try to maintain what they have. We are entering an era of global stagnation, a world that feels older, slower, and less dynamic. Is there a way out of this trap? Governments are becoming desperate. They are trying everything to fix the birth rate: cash for babies, free daycare, longer maternity leave. But so far, almost none of it has worked. You can't bribe a society into wanting children. Once the culture shifts, it's very hard to shift back. Some say technology will save us, AI and robots to do the work. Others say immigration is the answer, moving people from younger nations to older ones. But immigration is only a short-term fix. Birth rates are now falling in the developing world too. Soon, there will be no young nations left. This is a global phenomenon. We are reaching peak human, the moment when the total number of humans on Earth begins to decline. We have to learn how to live in a world without growth, a world that doesn't rely on more people to keep the lights on. It requires a total rethink of our economy, our cities, and our expectations for the future. We must adapt, or we will decay. The world your children inherit will not look like the one you grew up in. In fact, for many of you, your children won't be there at all. This isn't just about statistics. It's about the future of our species. The question is, are you ready for the Great Contraction? This is the story of our time. Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the data, check the links in the description. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the trends that are reshaping our world. We'll see you in the next one.